Hello, gang. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Rupp. I'm checking in with another mini episode here into your feeds for the Force Fed Sci-Fi podcast. We're on a bit of a break right now, but we got some stuff going on. Wanted to fill you all in on sort of what's been going on in my life, though. I recently went on vacation, and it was great for my mental health. Not going to get into specifics where we went location wise, but it was nice to just kind of get back to nature, doing some outdoorsy stuff, a lot of fishing, a lot of hiking. But I got to say, the big highlight was smoking a cigar at sunset on this little pier with my beloved, and it was fantastic. Reminded me of why we were there, what the purpose of the trip was, and it was definitely much needed to recharge the batteries. Also, big Marvel news as well. Shang-Chi premiered a couple of weeks ago, and I had the opportunity to see it. I went with a friend of mine who's also big into the Marvel films, and I gotta say, it was definitely refreshing to see a Marvel film that didn't quite feel like a Marvel film. Like it certainly had the action and the spectacle to it, but Thor wasn't coming in to save the day, neither was Iron Man, but it was great to see a lot of little connections to the MCU overall. I thought Wong was fantastic. Of course, I think Benedict Wong is fantastic in everything. It was nice to see the Abomination return, so hopefully it kind of gives me hope that we'll see another solo Incredible Hulk film with Mark Ruffalo. I would definitely pay money to see that. I thought the fight scenes were absolutely incredible. They were well choreographed, definitely brought some fresh life into the action, and definitely kind of brought me around again to the MCU after the slight disappointment that was Black Widow. And yeah, I'm definitely hopeful to see Simu Liu return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I could definitely see Shang-Chi being the tentpole franchise that carries that universe for the next 10 years or so. Gonna get into some sports stuff real quick, mainly the Chicago Bears. Well, it was just announced the other day that the Justin Fields era has officially begun. He's going to start a game for the injured Andy Dalton. And, I'm going to hold out hope on Justin Fields. I don't want to put too much pressure on him. I don't think anybody else does either to be the savior of the franchise. I mean, we haven't had a franchise quarterback in over 30 years, so I think we're due at some point. I think a lot of people will agree with that sentiment. But I'm fine with the record so far. I mean, yeah, they got trounced by the Rams in opening week, and then, yeah, the late touchdowns against the Bengals kind of bothered me a little bit, but it is what it is. But I think the defense really showed up and improved over their effort from week one. I like the turnovers. I like seeing Eddie Jackson, Roquan Smith get involved. I'd like to also see more sacks on the offensive from the defense. Get after that quarterback a little bit. But I think if they can stay healthy and stay consistent, I think and there's a lot of recharge, a lot of new energy in that defense. So I think they're trending upward. The offense, though, in one game, we've only managed what is it, 2 games so far. We've managed 3 offensive touchdowns. Let's pick up that pace a little bit. We got David Montgomery as a workhorse running back. You have Justin Fields who could sling the ball all over the field. I know Andy Dalton's going to start the majority of the games, but let Justin Fields be Justin Fields. He's got a cannon for an arm. Just let him do his thing out there. And they're playing the Browns this weekend, so, hopefully we can pull out a win against Baker Mayfield. And that team, they got a great running game. And, but you can go after those linebackers. Do it. Run that ball. Make Cleveland stop you. All right. That's the end of the sports talk for right now. I'm going to get into what I've been watching, what I've been reading, what I've been listening to, and watching a couple of things right now, particularly on Hulu. Along with everybody else, it seems like I am watching Only Murders in the Building with Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. And I got to say, it's a lot funnier than I originally thought it would be. I'm not particularly high on Selena Gomez as an actress. It also could just be, I haven't seen her in too many things. But it's nice to see Steve Martin and Martin Short kind of revive their comedic chemistry and work together once again. And also, I am watching What We Do in the Shadows. It's one of my favorite shows. It's usually the first show I recommend to anybody watching. I love the actors that they've got. I think it's an impeccably cast show, and it's one of the few shows that my beloved and I will agree on watching together, even though it can get pretty dark with ripping heads off and things like that. But Nandor and Guillermo, let's get those two together. Why not? What I've been reading, as I've just mentioned, as you probably all figured out, I'm a football junkie, so I'm actually reading the original Blindside book by Michael Lewis, and it's awesome to kind of see the evolution of the NFL and how modern offenses kind of evolved in the 80s and Bill Walsh. Next up in my reading list, I've got Unnecessary Roughness about the life and trial of Aaron Hernandez and kind of maybe sort of diving into what made him go off the deep end and, murder a bunch of people. What I've been listening to, new podcast that just came out recently. Of course, I will always recommend the Force-Fed Sci-Fi podcast, but I do listen to a lot on the side, and one of the big ones I'm listening to right now is called Armored from Disgraceland host Jake Brennan and host of several other podcasts. Armored is about armored car heists that take place in North America and just kind of diving into the background of those cases, how they were solved, even if they weren't solved. There was just an episode recently about one that was unsolved in Vermont. So yeah, definitely recommend listening to that. If you're a fan of true crime, which I'm sure if you listen to podcasts, you're definitely a true crime fan. I've also been giving some music a listen to. I'm a big Metallica fan, as probably come across in some of our other episodes on the podcast. But this year is the 30th anniversary of Metallica's Black Album, so I've been listening to that pretty much nonstop lately. I mean, every song on that album is an absolute banger. I love that album so much. I love Metallica. I know they got a lot of flack for kind of going a bit slower, not so much, thrash metal or heavy metal. It's like, it's a fantastic album. It's still great. It holds up. And there isn't a person alive who hears Enter Sandman isn't ready to run through a brick wall and do whatever they want. And it's fantastic. All right. We're going to end this little mini check-in with some updates on the podcast. Sean's off on adventures for a couple of weeks, so yeah, I'm working on some stuff behind the scenes, kind of getting caught up on some website notes, also getting prepped for future episodes. But be on the lookout, because our next episode, as we tease at the end of War for the Planet of the Apes, will be Battlefield Earth, and we are, I wouldn't say excited to watch that piece of crap, but we're definitely going to watch it. We're going to hammer it out, and yeah, maybe we'll get into some Scientology. Maybe not. I've heard the movie isn't too heavy on the Scientology crap, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, thanks for allowing this mini check-in. As always, please listen, rate, subscribe, and review the podcast wherever you find your favorite shows. And yeah, we'll check in next time.